Was the Apostle Paul the original Antichrist? Former minister and Bible college graduate Jeffrey Daugherty raises this and other staggering questions from the New Testament itself. The Christian Whistleblower asks if Jesus' original message has been warped into a fear and guilt-based control matrix. Here's Ali with more.
Thanks, Seb. Daugherty's 35 years of research challenge everyone to consider new perspectives and ask themselves, just what lies behind my religion? Are we born with original sin or the spark of divinity within?
Deep questions, Ali. Thanks. The Christian Whistleblower. We'll be watching.
Late night in the Heartland. Great to see you tonight. Great to see you tonight. Happy to have everybody with us. Very excited. Very excited. It's Friday night. Our last night of Podcast Excellence for the week. And we've got a very special treat for you tonight. You know, we've only had one time a guest on this late night slot. And tonight we've got a great one. He's the second guest, but he's definitely first class. It's David Weiss. He is I think, the leading expert in those that advocate the flat earth model. I think he's the most learned. I think he has the best explanations. And I especially like his evidence-based versus a faith-based basis for his explanation and belief in the flat earth model. Many of you have asked about eclipses in the flat earth model. We're going to talk to Dave about that tonight, and we are looking forward to getting with Dave. Before that, we do want to remind you that we are live with our partners on shortwave. We're live with WBCQ, and we are live on, you think I'd have this memorized by now, 7.490 megahertz and 6.160 megahertz. We're also on all the podcast outlets, including iHeartRadio now. And find us on all of the other platforms that we're on, too. And we'll talk about that in just a second. We're here to bring you information that you can use to unindoctrinate yourself. And you know, it's some crazy times that we're going through, ladies and gentlemen. And we never know exactly what's going to happen. So if it ever comes to a place where you can't seem to find me, you can always find me here at jeffreydaugherty.com. If you want to contact me, and if you are watching on our shortwave partner, please do contact me. And we got such a weird looking setup there. That's odd that it's only showing a little bit. But please come over here and hit this contact button and share with me that you're watching on shortwave. If you want to share in this work, you can hit this donate button right here. And folks, we're very serious about supporting internet decentralization. I'm asking you to follow me, the Christian Whistleblower, on these peer-to-peer platforms, which is Library, Odyssey, and BitChute. BitChute's trying. They're not really quite there yet, but they're trying. And if you want to have your own domain or get crypto through someplace other than a wallet, people can send it to a simple URL. Go to Unstoppable Domains. And if you're buying cryptocurrency, please buy it from Coinbase. Come here, click on my link. Help me spread this message, because you know optimization and unindoctrination are daily choices. That's why I work with My Daily Choice. And folks, I'm telling you, I've got this spray. It's called Sleep. I used to be awake till 4 in the morning after doing this show because I was so fired up. I get off the show, I take 8 squirts of this, and I sleep soundly, wake up early, much more rested. So go to whistleblowercbd.com, find out all of the great stuff on My Daily Choice. And, of course, remember our folks over at Focus Life Force Energy. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we've got David Weiss from deep inside the rabbit hole. We're going to talk about eclipses in the flat earth model and more. You can always find what yesterday's show was, and we're really serious about getting out of this centralized internet and getting back to freedom, not only in our country, but in our internet as well. We're sick and tired of YouTube pushing us around, and it's time to push back. And with that, I'm going to bring in right now David Weiss. David, again, I think he's the leading advocate of the flat Earth, understanding the flat Earth model.
You're killing me. You're killing me by saying stuff like that. First, there's a lot of heat coming on your show, and I love coming on your show, Jeffrey, because you are a man that's willing to change your mind based on new information. As many of everyone,
and you
that's
provided a lot of that information that caused me to change my mind and believe that we're not living on a spinning ball.
I remember you were on with that other guy, and there was some crazy space talk going on, and I may have looked like I was trolling you a little bit, but I was reaching, and you listened to me, and we had a discussion. And ever since then, those backdrops are gone. You got a good new background. You're wearing a jacket now. First time I'm wearing a collared shirt since March for you. Okay?
How about that?
I'm not wearing any pants, but I'm wearing a collared shirt.
Well, I'm not talking about what's going on south of the border over here either. It's business from the waist up and party from the waist down. That's all I'm going to say.
That's my motto.
Dave, I appreciate how and I'm not knocking being faith-based, but it's one thing to have your beliefs based in faith. It's another thing to have your beliefs based in evidence. And I think you bring that to the flat earth movement stronger than almost anyone, an evidentiary-based understanding, a provable, scientific, experiment-proven basis. And I think it does, whether you believe it or not believe it, it gives the genre a lot of credibility.
I appreciate those words of confidence. And, we all learn from each other. And Jeff, since we first met, you've changed, but you've changed. You've changed with the times. You've gone with the flow. A lot of people are just holding back that river of information, and that's a futile cause or effort. So, the way I look at it now is it's 2020. For Christ's sake, how can people still believe the earth is a ball? Okay. How is that even possible? It's 2020. People wake up. I mean, believing the heliocentric model in conventional space travel or anything close to that is insanity at this point.
It is. And Dave, you have kind of one of your flagship things is the Flat Earth app. Can you talk to us about that Flat Earth app and maybe give us just a little show of how it works? Because I love it. It looks cool. I watch the videos, but I don't know what else I can do with it, Dave.
Let me give you a quick demonstration. Thanks for asking. Can you see it here?
Not yet.
You gotta share my.
Oh, that's right.
Is it up?
It's up, and I shared it. Boom, there it is.
All right, so we're gonna do. I'll keep it under 2 minutes. So
all right,
here's the app. It's basically the flat Earth model. The flat Earth, and the way I just try to describe it these days is, the world ocean is like, I call it the world pond. A pond sits in a low spot on the land, and the shoreline of the pond is the highest land around it. So we have the highest land that surrounds the world pond is Antarctica. And then all of the islands are pieces of land that are stuck up in between. Bottom right, you have your little rabbit. We can go faster or really fast. The sun laps the moon once every 28 days. Okay. So you could show people how the sun marks the days and the moon keeps track of the months.
Ooh.
Right. And so it takes 28 days for the sun to lap the moon. So I'm not going to wait for it to go around 28 times, but you can see it's gaining. And when they're opposed to each other, that's when you have a full moon. So we're almost there. Full moon, bam. And now it'll start waning as it catches up. I can turn on the stars, but I have to slow it down for that because you'll get dizzy. The stars spin just slightly faster than the sun. So they lap the sun once a year. So right now we're transitioning from one sign into the next. This sign here will move up and the sun will be in it for the next month or so. And then this one, and then what's that? Pisces, then Taurus. And so the sun will take a year. So the stars map the seasons. Okay. So the sky is a perfect clock. And this is good that we're talking about this, because when we talk about eclipses, it has to do with the wheels on the clock. So I just turned on the world time, and you see wherever the sun is, it's 12 noon. So it's it's 12 noon in New Zealand, and that's almost 12 noon in Eastern Australia. Let me stop the clock.
Oh, okay.
So right now, so that's the world time. You got the buttons on the right. This button right here is the world time.
Okay.
So if you want to know what time, hey, I want to call my friend PK. He's in Eastern Australia. It's 2:00 in the morning. No, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm sorry. I can call him. and I won't wake him up.
Yeah,
right
so I can
now
call Vinny Eastwood right now, no problem. He's in New Zealand.
it's 6 a.m. in Johannesburg. Okay, over here.
Right.
So this shows you what time it is all around the world. So that's the world time. Very useful. If I hit the little compass, which is right here, the compass shows you how a compass works on flat Earth. North is in the center. South is every direction away from center. If I go this way, I'm going south. If I go this way, I'm going south. If I go this way, here's the thing: circumnavigation is what gets people. I'm in United States, and hey, I've gone west, and I come back to where I started from. Therefore, the Earth is a globe. No, my needle needs to point towards the magnetic north. So I leave, and I'm going 270 degrees. I have to keep turning because my compass needle needs to point towards the north. I think I'm going in a straight line, but I'm going in a circle. But Jeffrey, this does not prove the Earth is flat. This proves how compasses work. This works on a ball Earth and a flat Earth. I can go east, 90 degrees, dead reckoning. I'm going 90 degrees east. I'm following the compass. I'm turning left when I go east. I can even go from America in a straight line north. And as soon as I pass the North Pole on that straight line, now I'm going south. I haven't turned, and bam, I'm in Japan. Okay. That does not prove the flat Earth because it works on a ball Earth also. What doesn't work on a flat Earth is going from the bottom of Santiago across Antarctica and popping up in Australia, or from Johannesburg and going south and popping up in New Zealand. You should be able to do that if we lived on a ball, but nobody has ever done it.
Nobody has ever done it.
Nobody has ever done it. I could show you there's a world record for somebody that circumnavigated south, but wait until I show you the path. Your mind is you're gonna see the deception. Over here, the most important button is this question mark. You hit the question mark, up come all of the questions. What about, hey, where's the edge? These are the common questions. Is what about southern flights? Why the lie? If I hit why the lie, up comes a list of all of the videos that will help you understand why they would bother to lie about the stupid shape of the Earth. Okay, so this is the stuff YouTube won't give you. You say, hey, is the Earth flat? And you Google it, and you're just going to get nonsense. What you're going to get is, if I go over to this page, this is links to other shows, other useful tools. It's going to be a curve calculator on here. But the center bottom one, when you Google, is the Earth flat? You're going to get top 10 reasons why we know the Earth isn't flat. If you click that, up come a list of all of the videos that these debunkers do, the Professor Dave, the National Geographic, this astronomer woman up here on the top. But we carefully take them apart. We don't just go, you're wrong. We say, look, this is how they're deceiving you. And we point out the deception and people can see it. So here are all the debunking videos of all of the BS that Google will feed you when you search flat Earth. And of course, Jeffrey, you know that if you search flat Earth, you land on the Flat Earth Society, which is complete and total disinformation, government-controlled garbage. Right?
David, this is powerful. I mean, this is probably the single best resource for understanding the world we live on, probably anywhere in the world.
I thank you for that, and I 100% agree. Bottom right, my favorite button, mud floods, Tartaria. If you click that button, bring food and water, okay? Because you're not coming out for a while, right? There's all sorts of, full length duck. If it's a rainy Sunday afternoon, you want to do something with family, click this button here. There's great full length documentaries that are, I would pay $20 to see them in a movie theater, but
I see the Owen Benjamin button. I'm sure there's a Jeffrey Daugherty button coming very soon.
There could be. It could be. You never know. And then we have playlists in different languages for people that are not English speaking. So we're working on building that some more. Top right, if you just click the weather, and a lot of people don't realize if you click the weather, it brings you to Dark Sky, the best weather app. So you know what kind of pants to put on in the morning, or no pants at all. This is the thing I tell people: if you think flat Earth is stupid, get the app. It's $2.99. Over here is the featured video. Every day there's a new video that shows up. Short ones during the week, a couple minutes, longer ones on the weekends. And I say, watch one video a day for 2 weeks, and you will know that the Earth isn't a spinning ball. And this is what happens, Jeff. people say, hey, I was listening to Jeff Daugherty. I've heard this flat earth thing. I've seen you before. I hate you, but I bought the app to take your stupid challenge, but I didn't want to wait. So I hit the archive button, which is right next to that. And up comes all of the videos from the month that we're in now. And all of the videos from all of the months. If I hit that little hamburger at the top, these are all of the other months that the app's been going. Endless videos there. And the person says, I haven't slept in 2 days. The earth is flat. You've ruined my life. What the heck do I do now? And I say, welcome to flat earth. Keep researching, and life changes from there. Real quick, if I hit the settings button, which is right next to the rabbit on the bottom right, lots of options in there. If I turn this button on at the right, random backgrounds, whenever I go back and turn the app on, there'll be a different background, right?
Oh, nice.
I can pick whatever background I want. I kind of like to set a background. And then also you can pick any background you want with all these backgrounds. Then you scroll down, and if you want to share it with nothing better than turning a friend into a flat earther, you click the little share button. It'll text them, email them, Instagram them, whatever you want, a link to the app. Or if you're on iOS, you can hit the gift app. And if you hit the gift button, it just brings you to the iTunes store. And on the top right up here is the share button. You hit share, and then you scroll down, and you can hit gift. And then up comes, it just walks you through. You put the person's email address in, and you're back to, and you can buy the app for them if you want.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so that and with the holidays, $2.99. It's a half a beer, and you turn a family or friend into a flat earth. That's priceless.
That is priceless. Dave, you've obviously dedicated, if not your life, a great
I haven't slept in 2 years because I'm working with a guy in India. And if you go look at your world times, you'll see that India doesn't sleep when I'm supposed to be sleeping.
So why all of the energy, why all of the focus into the flat earth? Why is it that important, not only to you, but to all of us?
I'm going to answer that in 3 seconds. Let me just finish. I got my t-shirt shop there. Coolest t-shirts ever. Maybe not the coolest ever, but I definitely have some good ones. You have your countdown timer. You have different formats you can just see. And if you go down here, just make sure you turn the top button on to Fahrenheit if you are in that world. I like to turn the sound clicker off. So whenever you hit a button, it doesn't turn off whatever you're listening to, because I'm always multitasking. Because if you have music on and it makes a click, it'll just turn your music off. So just turn the sound off. And I hide my countdown timer because I'm not using it. And then all of the other features that are on the desktop, you can hide them or not. Okay.
Cool.
And there you go. And then if you're worried about your location and you don't like your locations on, you could say show location, set custom time, pick your time zone, and then it'll know, the app will know where you are without telling Google if you're afraid of that or you don't want to run your battery. I leave my locations on all the time.
They know anyway.
They know anyway. That's right. If you're listening,
get that app. I mean, it's super cool looking. There's a lot of super cool stuff you can do with it. And as Mike King would say, you give Dave a couple shekels to keep the work going. It's
$2.99. And just a real quick note: if you go look, when you go to the App Store, iOS or Google Play, the reviews are the best reviews I've ever seen on any app. People love it. They're praising it, except for the few crazy trolls out there, which I appreciate. But people ask for a donation button, and Apple and Google Play don't allow donations. So I put a subscription button on there. It says, would you like to subscribe for 99 cents? You get a little pop-up. You can exit out immediately, no ads, no nothing, and it doesn't show up for 24 hours after that, right? And you still get everything. It's just you can donate $11 for the year or 99 cents a month, or you can just exit out once a day. If that bothers you, send me an email, and I'll show you how to turn it off, all right? And you still get everything.
Absolutely. So why is this, would you say in your mind that the flat earth is the most important truth out there?
I think it's the globe lie is the most important lie, which means the flat earth is the most important truth, because it's the way that we've gotten into this crazy situation that we're in right now. I mean, if you can convince somebody they live on a random speck in the middle of an infinite universe spinning out of control, with limited resources and that you're a random accident, then you can convince them that there's a little tiny bug that will fly through the air that, a napkin will prevent from killing you, and
It
everything else. So,
It does. I think the thing that it does more than anything else is it causes people, because I don't care if you're Neil deGrasse Tyson. If you walk outside and you look around, all you see is flat. You don't see any curve anywhere. If you're in an airplane, if you're in an
big
F-15, if you're in an F-16, an F-14, you're not going to see curvature. But if they can convince you that it's a ball, then they can convince you that you can't even trust your own powers of observation, and then they've got you.
Yeah, every time we expose one of their lies, they move the globe post. Okay, they just move it farther back. People say, "I've seen we could see it from an airplane. I've flown an airplane. You could see the curve," and then we explain how you're not seeing the curve. The curved windows, and you think you're seeing a curve. And Neil deGrasse Tyson comes out and says, "Well, you have to be at 70,000 feet." And they show us some MiG fighter planes at 70,000 feet, looking through curved glass, through curved, face shields. And then one camera wasn't behind curved glass, and you could see a perfectly level, flat horizon. So we expose that. So Neil comes out and goes, "Well, you have to be higher." Felix Baumgarten saw it. But then, Felix Baumgarten said, he said he saw the curve. We exposed with balloons at 120,000 feet that he didn't see the curve. And Neil comes out on a show and says, "Oh, you can't see the curve. That's a wide angle lens," right? Because we looked at this picture that the Globers were using as evidence. And we said, "You see this river here? You see this feature? See this?" And we matched it up. This is planet New Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay. This is all New Mexico, right? Just let that wrap around your head. The Earth is rotating at 1,000 miles an hour to the east. Felix went up for 3.5 hours. The Earth should have rotated to the east, and he should have landed west in the ocean. But he landed east of where he took off from. Okay? The Earth is rotating at 1,000 miles an hour. He went up unattached from the Earth, Coriolis, my butt, and he landed in front of where he took off. That tells you what, Jeff?
Tell me what
the Earth isn't spinning.
Not
the
spinning.
Earth isn't spinning. It's perfectly calm, glass, and beautiful.
It is. There's no doubt about it in my mind. Tell us one of the big questions, one of the big rebuttals, one of the big questions that many people in my audience have had here over the past couple of days when we were talking about having you on is, how can an eclipse work on a flat Earth model?
Let's start off with how it can't work on a ball model. All right.
Excellent.
Okay. Let me just look here.
You just muted yourself. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm muted because I'm clearing my throat because this is my 18th interview this week, and I'm totally losing my voice.
Holy wow.
Yeah. So we're told by the guy in the bow tie, whose name is Bill Nye, the failed actor, that only a sphere can come in between the sun and the moon to create a curved shadow on the moon, right? That's how we have a lunar. This is a solar eclipse you're looking at, but we're talking about a lunar eclipse, and that's like one of the number one reasons that I'm going to share my screen again. The number one reasons that, where is the right screen? I think this is it. The number one reasons why we know that the Earth is not a spinning ball. So can you see this screen? Oops.
That's the only one I can see is us.
It's the only one you can see is us. Hold on.
There we go.
So you see, all right. So that's what the model. All right. So I'm looking for, all right. So you can see, they say that the Earth causes that shadow, all right, and it comes in curved. So here's a little experiment. When you have a single source light and a sphere creating a shadow on another sphere, it doesn't come in with that perfect curve like they show us and rise through. If I play this video here, it comes in as a long ellipse, and then it spreads out. It spreads out. And let me turn that down. So see how it leaves as a it's actually more severe than that. It comes in and then it spreads out and then it leaves as an ellipse. So watch again when it comes down one more time. And and it doesn't show us. So what we see, watch it when it leaves. So you have that curve, it's pretty good, and it gets narrow, and it leaves as a point.
We don't see that. I mean, I was there for the last one, and it doesn't look like that.
Right. So when if you actually took a flat piece of something like a book or a piece of cardboard, you would see the same thing that we see on Earth. And I'm not saying that a flat Earth or something flat is coming in. I'm saying something completely different is going on when we see an eclipse. So have you heard of the Seleninian eclipse?
I have not.
So there's been over 50 eclipses documented that are called the Seleninian eclipse. Whenever you're watching something in the sky on a ball, you're always on the top of the ball. That's how you have to frame everything. So I've got the sun over here and I've got the moon over here. Okay. And the ball has to come up in between them. So we're waiting until one of them moves down and makes the ball intercept cause the eclipse on the moon. But the Seleninian eclipse is the eclipse starts before either one of them drop below the horizon. So you got a ball, and the Earth is down here. And what happens? The eclipse starts from the top. It shouldn't even have started, and it should come in from the bottom, but it's at the top. So the optics in the sky are no way to prove the shape of the Earth. And making assumptions on what's happening, we don't know what causes the eclipse. There's lots of speculation. I'm going to show you some crazy stuff in a second. But
good.
One thing we know is that it's not the Earth. Now watch this. So where's the horizon? You think the horizon's down here behind these trees somewhere, right?
You think? Yeah,
you'd think. But atmosphere gets thick and it's in layers. And when you're looking through it, I call it the atmospheric deck of opacity. It looks like the sky, but it's opaque and light can't get through it. Watch where the sun goes down. Watch right here. That's the moon, actually. It's getting eclipsed right there.
Whoa.
This is where the horizon is. The horizon is very close to your eye level, but it looks like sky because you're looking through so much air. Like if you're in a big swimming pool with crystal clear water, you can't see the other end of the pool. The water just becomes too opaque because it's density. Air is the same thing. It's just a little farther. So let's watch that.
And what's the point there?
Say that.
And what's the point there? What's the takeaway from that besides it being interesting?
Yeah. So the takeaway here is if you look, the eclipse is coming in from the top, and you have to know that the sun is above the Earth on the other side. How is that shadow coming in from the top when the Earth is below the moon?
Ooh.
Okay. So again, I'm not telling you what's causing the eclipse. I'm telling you that Earth being a sphere for two reasons. One, it's not in between the two yet, so it's not doing it. And two, if it was a sphere, we wouldn't have this nice cookie cutter bite coming out of the moon based on a shadow of a sphere from a sphere. Okay.
Right.
So the next one I'm going to show you is, which one is this? So people say we know the Earth is flat because of eclipses. So are you familiar with the Anti-Catheter Mechanism?
Yes.
All right. So this is the Anti-Catheter Mechanism found under the ocean. It's over 2,000 years old. They couldn't figure out how to make one today, except with X-ray technology and MRIs. They figured out all of the gears on this thing. They put it together, and it predicts exactly when the eclipses happen and where some of the planets are perfectly. And did you know that the eclipses come in a cycle? That after I think it's 18 years and something like 11 days, the eclipses repeat again and again and again, like a wheel on a clock, Jeff.
Whoa.
Yeah. So just like the stars, we're supposedly in this crazy beehive. Let me just jump forward here just so you see. So this is the mechanism put together, and it literally shows you where the eclipses happened. I mean, this is what they found under the water. So for 2,000 years, they've had better technology than we have today. But we have to believe that this is going on. We're traveling billions of miles a year, spinning, twirling, whirling, and somehow the stars are always in the same position on the same night of the year, every year, forever. in the exact same position. If this was happening, they would never be on this in the same position night to night. Agreed? I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes 100% sense. And even if there's a long, drawn out, crazy ass explanation of how everything's turning, Occam's razor says that the simplest and easiest thing that takes the least amount of explaining it away is going to be right.
Yeah. So, am I? You guys can still see me in the corner of the screen. Yep. Great. So, I just want to explain one thing. NASA has a thing called the two-body problem. They can take a supercomputer. We can take, and say, all right, I've got a mass this big. It's got this much gravity. I've got a mass this big, and it's got this much gravity. And they're going to set them in orbit, and the thing will work like a beautiful clock. It'll go and go and go, and it'll go for 10 years, 50 years, however long they want, and it works perfectly. Then they add a third body, any size mass, into the formula. Said, okay, gravity, go and do your thing, and the entire model falls apart. It never works. It just becomes a beehive of 3 random bees grabbing each other, and they never ever repeat. It becomes random, right? We have like 80 something bodies in our solar system alone, solar system, and there's no way. Like, what happens when the moon gets in between the sun and the earth? The moon is falling around the earth due to magical gravity. The earth is falling around the sun due to magical gravity. What happens when the sun and the moon gets in between? Why doesn't the sun rip the moon away, or at least tug it just a little bit? Would you give me just a little tug, right, to throw it out of whack? That never happens. We're having these planetary alignments that are coming up, and none of them pull on each other. Makes no sense. That's the 3-body problem is a problem for gravity. It doesn't work. The sky is a perfect clock. The moon, I said, marks the months. The stars mark the seasons, and the eclipses mark a bigger cycle, an 18-year cycle. And then there's we're having this alignment that's coming up on the 21st, which is the end of an epoch, which is a longer cycle. And the ancient civilizations knew all about this stuff. So what the heck causes an eclipse, right? So
that's the great question. I mean, thinking that it's a couple of spheres interacting just brings up more questions than answers.
Right. So here's a little thing that I came up with. And, I believe we live in a dome, some sort of dome. Don't ask me what it's made of. We can speculate on that all day long. And I believe that the sun and the stars that we see are, for lack of a better word, projected into the screen of the sky. And everybody sees them in a position relative to their own. And I could show you experiments how that actually works. But so the sun that we see is just a projection, like a magnifying glass, focusing a point of light into our world. Okay. And the real sun is behind it, either within or above the firmament, however you want to word that. And it's being projected in here. So Paige and I went down and watched the solar eclipse at the beach without sunglasses, without those crazy don't look at the eclipse of free glasses that the government gives you to protect you because they don't want you to go blind, or maybe they don't want you looking at the eclipse and getting the benefits of the eclipse. So they give you these free glasses that filter out any useful energy.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we were down there watching the eclipse, and this is what happened. So there was some chemtrails. It was pissing me off, but it worked out to be my benefit. On the right, this is the eclipse that we saw, and the sky's a little hazy, so it's easy to look at. It was no problem. And you would think that this is the moon, okay? And maybe it is, but it's not the moon that we see, in my opinion, okay? And I'm going to explain what that is in a minute. If you track the position of the moon, when the moon goes new, which means it has no more in the heliocentric model, it has no more light being shined on it. It's dark, therefore you don't see it. Nobody has ever seen it with any kind of infrared lens, super zoom telescope, high flying aircraft. Nobody has ever seen a hint of the moon without within and under like 42 hours or something like that. That's almost 2 full days. No one has been able to find the unlit moon in the sky when it goes new for over 40 hours.
So it's like it disappears.
It disappears. Yeah, they call it a new moon. What does that mean? But
if it's a body, it couldn't disappear.
Yeah. So check this out. When you look at the full moon in the sky at night, away from city lights, it's so on a clear night, it's so bright you can read by it. It casts shadows on the ground, right? And that's because, and they tell us in the helio-nonsensical model that's because the sun is reflecting off this dusty, dirty rock and flowing all the way back to Earth, so bright you can read by it, which is insanity. Because if you look at the guys on the moon that took pictures, it was pretty dim there, even during the day. But that light has to travel all the way to Earth and maintain its brightness, which it doesn't. It gets cut down by 4 parts every time you double the distance or half the distance, whatever. The inverse square law of light would make it that the moon that we see, the full moon that we see from Earth, would have to be 10 million times brighter when you're there to look as bright as it does on Earth. Okay, it's absolute insanity. So with that said, the Earth is 6 times bigger than the moon in the helio-nonsensical model, and it's a much shinier. It's got water that's more reflective than gray dirt. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
So when we have a new moon, that's because the sun is behind the moon. If you were on the moon and looked at the Earth, you have a full Earth, like we get a full moon. You have a fully lit Earth, 6 times bigger. That reflective light should light up the moon. Since the moon's able to light us up, it should light up the moon. You should be able to see it, but you don't see it. So the question is, when the moon goes new, I say that the sun and the moon are projected into our world. Whatever, I believe the moon's phases have to do with the position of the sun, but I don't believe that it's sunlight that's lighting them. It's a moot point, but the moon is its own light. Whether the sun is powering the moon or the moon is, and the sun are part of a huge battery system, doesn't matter. We can work that out. There's other people that are way smarter at that than I am. But when there's no moon, when there's no light, there's nothing getting projected. So there's nothing for us to see. But the moon is still there, in my opinion. So watch what happens. This is the eclipse happening, and this is my experiment over here, which kind of looks the same. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to show you how I did that. And so this is what happened when you look at an eclipse. The light is getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer because there's less and less sun, and you can possibly see things if you didn't put those blacked out glasses on. And what you might see is the projector. You ever look at a rear projection screen and you can see the projector lens behind the screen? You see like a bright spot, but the image is still on the screen, but you can see through the screen and see the bright spot. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe you've never seen it, but I've seen, like, if you have a sheer sheet hanging in the room and you have a light on the other side of the room on the sheet, the whole sheet is lit up by the light, but you could also see the source of that through the sheet. You can also see the spotlight across the room. Am I explaining it right? Or
I'm with you.
All right. So someone in Michigan was filming and they noticed this little eclipse here that was locked to the position of the sun. Not like this one that's moving around and that's inverted. This one is just a lens flare. Mm-hmm. And right now the eclipse is almost full. This is the sun that we see, and this is almost a full eclipse, but it's blowing out the lens. You can't see it,
right?
Because it's just so bright. But it's really equal to these eclipses. Why are we seeing these little eclipses? And I say that this one here is the projector that's projecting this sun into our reality. All right. And so let's see what we do. So
wow.
As I was saying, the eclipse is happening. This is blown out. This is the projector right here behind the screen, our sky screen. Okay. So let's just jump forward a little bit here.
This is fascinating work, Dave.
Yeah. So this is the experiment that I just showed you at the beginning, but I'm thinking, wait, what if the sky, and this is how I did it. There's the projector, and there comes the moon, which is not lit, so it's not showing up on the screen, and it's just eclipsing the sun, right? And so I said, what if I can't see through this paper towel?
Thank you, sweetheart.
And I said, what if the sky is a little more transparent? You know, it's more transparent than that. So I went and got a thinner sheet, and I tried it again. So here we go. And here comes the eclipse. And look,
damn.
Right, there's the projector on the other side of the sheet. Okay.
It looks like some toilet tissue, Dave.
It does look like toilet tissue. Okay. And look at that. It's the
But you're not full of shit, bro. This is good stuff.
It's the exact same thing.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Amazing, right?
Dude,
So,
that's brilliant work. That is brilliant work. I don't know how you even thought to do that, but it's amazing.
Well, it just because I was sitting there staring at the eclipse with my eyes wide open, not even having sunglasses on, and maybe it opened up my brain a little bit. You know what's amazing? I got to tell you, that we're sitting at the beach. Paige and I are sitting there in our beach chairs, staring at the sun, not even blinking. We're staring at the sun for an hour, right? And there's a woman coming by, and she's got her sunglasses on and her iPhone, and she puts her mirrored sunglasses on the ground, and she's taking a picture of her glasses on the ground. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "Well, I'm trying to get a picture of the eclipse, but I don't want to look at the sun." So she's trying to take a picture of the eclipse in her glasses with her phone, but she was afraid to look at her phone while she was taking a picture of the mirrored lenses on her glasses with the phone. And I'm like, do you see that we're just sitting here staring at the sun for the last hour? And it was just like telling her the earth was flat. You couldn't hear
You
us.
know where that lady is today, David?
She's wearing a mask. She's probably waiting in line for the vaccination.
Yeah, she's at Trader Joe's with a mask on, checking out her groceries with no problem because she's got her mask on.
Yeah,
Horrible stuff. Horrible
She
stuff.
probably still has her Costco membership too.
Yeah, we got rid of that. I mean, it's just crazy. How do you explain this? I mean, the empirical evidence, and you did an experiment like scientists do, and you were able to duplicate what you saw in the sky. But what a problem you have now. Where's this projector, and who's projecting it?
God,
huh? Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, but so God is out there. Maybe I don't think it's God. There's got to be somebody else working the spotlight, but they work for God.
Yeah, well, maybe it's his son.
Ooh, how about that? Amazing.
So listen, Jeff, I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm saying that could be happening. I'm saying the official story is just ridiculous. Let's talk about the size of the sun for a second. I've done this before. I don't know if you've heard it. In the helio-nonsensical bullshit model, the sun is one of the big yoga balls, right? This big,
yep.
Right? And the earth is a BB, a pebble, right? Next to that. Agreed?
Yep.
So let's say you're out, you're on a little island, a little tiny island, no trees, and you could, in the middle of the ocean, and you could see 360 degrees around and the horizon all around. And the sun was just a mile, mile over your head. Okay. If I move the sun just for demonstration purposes, the big giant sun a mile over your head, it would fill the entire sky, correct?
Yep.
Horizon to horizon. Now I'm going to move it 93 million miles away to where it's supposed to be. And it went from the entire sky to the size of a dime held at arm's length, or a nickel. Okay. So it reduced a lot, right?
Yep.
Perspective. Okay. If I doubled that distance, remember, it went from the entire sky to a nickel. If I doubled the distance, it would get so small you couldn't see it. Any thinking person would say, right?
Yeah.
If you're not so sure, what if we 8 times? We made it go 8 times farther, that it went from everything to a nickel. 8 times farther, it would measurably be impossible to see because its angular size would be so small. It would be smaller than the smallest star, and you couldn't see it, right?
Yep.
So the closest star in the helio-nonsensical bullshit system is 4.5 light years away. Okay. That's what they're telling us. The closest star that we see, and they tell us there's all stars. Some are bigger than our sun. Some are just like our sun. There's billions of them. The closest one is 4.5 light years. That distance I just said where we couldn't see our sun, it's 8 times farther. That's a light hour. That's 1 light hour. Okay. So if our sun was 8 times farther, we couldn't see it. It's a light hour away. And the next closest star is 4.5 light years away. You can't even do the math because it's ridiculous.
It just doesn't add up, does it?
Nothing adds up in the heliocentric nonsense model.
So why is it the de facto model that if you don't believe it, you're stupid?
Well, because they've trained us, from before we can talk. When we were babies, half of us had mobiles over our heads of planets. Yep. Any television show that we watched as a kid, Sesame Street had astronauts on it, the Teletubbies now, and it's all ball programming. Then you go to school, you finally get to school, kindergarten, preschool, they got globes there, globe toys, globe everything, along with dinosaurs affirm the globe model. And then, Global Network News, Paramount Pictures in 1927 had a spinning globe before NASA could even tell them what the globe looked like. And so globe, your entire life is based on a globe. It's the foundation of your world. And that's so you never realize that we are powerful beings here at the center of creation. Okay. They don't want us to know that. They want us spinning out of control, lost in space. I mean, that spiraling, solar system, if you think about that, you're spinning, I'm watching the sunset, but I'm really falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound on a spinning ball while orbiting, while rocketing, while moving sideways. I'm going to be nauseous. I'm going to be lost. I'm going to lose my power. I'm going to lose my ability to think. I'm going to believe that a little virus is going to kill me, if I get within 5.9 feet of somebody.
It's craziness. Dave, are you open to take some calls?
I love calls. Hopefully we get some people that don't think flat Earth is real and have a good question. Because now, everyone I'm talking to believes the Earth is flat. I want to have some fun.
The rules are the same tonight as they always are. Number one, you have to be polite, period. Number two, you have to be interesting. You have to come strong and have a good take and don't suck. And this is not an invitation for you to call in and make a speech. You have your own channel. Every one of you that's here has your own channel. So if you have a question for Dave and you can be interesting and you can be polite, I'm inviting you to call in right now. The phone line is open, 913-279-0831, 913-279-0831. Call in. You'll hear welcome to the Christian Whistleblower, hit the 0. Somebody's already figured it out. You ready, Dave?
I'm ready. And if they do start preaching, I enjoy your rants when you hammer them. I really do.
All right. Good. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeff and David. You're speaking to us directly. Go ahead.
Hello, Jeffrey, and hello, David. Jeffrey, somewhat long-time listener, been probably a little less than 6 months, but a first-time caller, and hopefully not my last time. David, long-time follower. You kind of blew my mind with the projection. I had mentioned, what are your thoughts on Rahu and Ketu? I mean, that's kind of going back to the Vedic interpretation of what you were showing with the projections. So that kind of blew my mind, how you presented that. What I love about your backstory, David, is that you were trying to push off the flat Earth, then you tried to debunk the flat Earth, and then you ended up debunking the spinning ball model. In the process,
all of us. Again, that's the way we all get into it.
Mm-hmm. Talk about Rahu and Ketu, Dave, if you would.
I really can't. The Rahu and Ketu, there's other people that are good at that. There's supposedly these dark bodies in the sky. Makes a heck of a lot more sense. Some people talk about them as being node points. I have a video, which maybe I can pull it up. I don't know. I don't know. There could be dark bodies in the sky. Again, I'm not saying I know what happens. I'm saying I know what's not happening up there. I know we don't live on a spinning ball. All flat earthers agree with that. So I know that it's not the Earth causing a lunar eclipse.
Yeah, that caller made a great point. Rahu Ketu is one possible explanation. Thank you for calling. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with David and Jeff. You're speaking to us directly. Go ahead.
1 second. I just had to.
Okay,
Hello,
be quick. We got a lot of people waiting. Go ahead, Laugh Dancer.
Yes, 2 questions. One was, Can you explain sunrise, why it's coming up in the sky and goes down in the sky?
You'll have to answer. I'm going to stop you there because that's a beautiful question, and Dave has a beautiful answer. Thanks so much for calling, Dave. I was hoping somebody would ask this. You're the man on this. It's a great, great answer.
There's a bunch of things that are happening, and it's a longer answer, but I'm going to try to keep it short so we can take more calls. It all has to do with perspective. If you go on a street where there's a bunch of street lights,
can you play your video, or is that too long?
It's too long. Let me just explain it, and then if you really want to know, go in the app, hit the what about sunsets button, and all the videos are there. All the new ones are there. All the old ones are there.
This video is almost as good as the one he just showed. Almost as good.
So I'm not showing the sun fade out right now. I'm gonna talk about just perspective. So as we showed you with that one, the moon was setting and it's set way above where we thought the horizon was. That's the atmospheric deck of opacity. At just 25, 30 miles away, that cloud deck, whether there's clouds or not, it's that deck of opacity merges with the horizon, and you can't tell the difference. Like if I'm looking at clouds above me, I can see the blue sky between them. But if I'm looking at clouds 20, 30 miles away, they're touching the water, and I can't see between them because they're all lined up due to perspective, and it creates an atmospheric deck. So here's the atmospheric deck, my hand, and it's over your eye light. It's way up here, but because I'm so far away, it looks like it's at your eye level. So here it is, and here's the sun, and the sun's just above it, and the sun just goes away, and as it goes away, it sets behind that line. You see me?
Yeah.
Right? So it just sets behind it due to perspective, but this looks like it's at eye level in a distance. It's
almost like the classic watching the ship go over the horizon, quote unquote, at the beach.
No, but yes. Yes and no. Because one, things get smaller when they go into the distance, but they also get magnified due to atmospheric density and water. So it's very confusing. It's getting bigger and smaller at the same time. So things are magnifying and shrinking. So that atmospheric deck, the cloud deck, merges with the water, and I can't see anything there. It now becomes a horizon line. But if I get my P900 super zoom camera and I zoom in, I can take this space right here between my hands and I can make it bigger and I can see the ship again. Okay. Yep. The problem is that's for a terrestrial object. The sun is a celestial object above it. So here's that line, right here. And I can't zoom in because this is above it. And
gotcha.
It goes behind it. And when it's behind it, no amount of zoom will bring it back.
So it's still, the sun is just going away and coming towards. It's not really rising and setting.
Going away and setting.
Yep. And in the morning, it's coming towards you, right?
It's coming towards you, and it just goes over you. And the reason it's low in the sky now is because it's farther south away from the center. It's farther away, therefore it's colder and is lower in the sky because it doesn't get as close to us. In the summer, it's over the Tropic of Cancer, and it's over us.
Excellent. You ready for another call?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Dave and Jeff. Turn down your radio, and you're speaking to us directly. Go ahead.
Well, hi there. I really like your guest. Dave, you're awesome.
What's up, Delaney? Give us what's on your mind, sweetheart.
So I have a few a new word. It's okay. Look, you believe in angels, right, dude, David?
Well, angels. The idea of an angel, sure. I don't know where they are, what they are, but I believe that my belief, and I'm not speaking for other flat earthers or anyone else, is that these energies are within the Earth system, that stars perhaps are souls, that we are souls having a journey here in this realm. I believe that our goal here is to maintain control of our soul and not sell it.
Delaney, we got a lot of people stacked up, sweetheart. Please come right to your point. I appreciate it very much.
Okay. Well, anyways, I got something here from Elvis Presley. You remember a conversation about Elvis?
Okay.
Well, Elvis gave me a word.
And what was it?
Elvis gave me a word. from his songs Ghetto.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Ghetto. I am infinite and manifesting, grateful, humble, eternal, truthfully thankful, and observant.
Thank you so much, Delaney. That's another great word. Thank you for bringing that from the king, as the king might say. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeff and Dave.
Hey, Jeffrey. This is Eddie from Tennessee. How are you?
Hey, Eddie. What's going on, my friend? You got a question for Dave?
Yes, I do, Dave. Hey, man, I am a total flat earther, and I have been for about 3 years. I started watching the Eric Dubay videos when he first started coming out with those. I believe we're on a magnet. That's what I think we're living on, is just a big ass magnet with a hole in the middle. But anyways, I wanted to know what you thought about vortex math, or if you've done any study on it, and how that would tie into flat Earth, because with the 432 hertz frequency, it works perfectly. And I kind of had a theory that maybe the North Star was actually the projector, and the atmosphere, or the globe that's above us, was the screen, and the sun and the moon were like the 3 and the 6. You understand where I'm going with that?
There's a lot to unpack there. So thanks for the call. Let me answer the best I can. Vortex mathematics. There's a guy named Randy something. If you just Google on YouTube Vortex mathematics, subscribe to him, click some of his videos, bring food and water, because it's going to blow your mind. It's just stuff that they don't teach you in school. They teach you simple arithmetic to be part of the slave system. But this vortex mathematics is everything. It's what Tesla used, and it has everything to do with everything. And then what was the other thing he was asking? Jeff, he was asking
about if the North Star was the projector.
Yeah, well, so the projector, some people think the projector is coming from the north, projecting up into like a planetarium. I can't rule that out. Maybe the projection's coming in, maybe it's going up. Again, I don't know. These are places that are beyond my reach, so it would be pure speculation. But as far as the Earth being a magnet with a hole in the middle, it's close. The only true forces in this Earth are magnetism and electricity, who are brother and sister. Some people say that the sun and the moon are an anode and diode. The Earth is a battery. It has a charge to it. We can pull energy out of it. And the oceans, the salt water carries the current. There's a channel where, everybody write this down, LC King. LC, liquid crystal, King, King. This guy's in Australia. I keep telling him, dumb your videos down, dumb them down. And his dumbed down videos are just this much over my head, but they're amazing. He explains the galvanic Earth battery system, how the Earth is a battery, and the sun and the moon and all of the planets are part of the system. Makes perfect sense. Go ahead.
Excellent. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with David and Jeff. 989 area code. You're live. Not anymore. It is Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with David and Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Dave. This is Chris with a K from the chat room. One thing, Dave, I want to say is I agree with you. Made a statement a while back that you're a true earther, because we know we're on a flat plane, but we really don't know what's above the firmament, below or within our Earth, or beyond the ice world. I mean, we could speculate, but we do know we live on a flat plane. The question I had for you, with this great conjunction coming up of Jupiter and Saturn close to the winter solstice, we know that it's impossible based on a heliocentric model, because basically the movements of the planets would not be moving towards each other in a heliocentric. It's impossible. So I just want to know your thoughts on that.
Thanks for the call. I don't know when you say it's impossible in a heliocentric model, they're going to be lined up from our point of view. But if we were sideways looking at it, they wouldn't be anywhere near each other. It just happens to be from our point of view. But the entire idea of planets spinning around, chasing the sun, maintaining their course and being predictable is it a complete impossibility? So this conjunction is a conjunction of energies. It is a marking of a time. It is the beginning or the end of an epoch. So it has significance. I don't know if that significance shows up immediately. I believe there was significance in the end of the Mayan calendar in 2012, that it was an awakening, and it's taken us 10 years, or how long has it been? 8 years, or the 10 years for people to wake up as much as they did. So that's my belief there. And Bob, thanks. The Vortex mathematics guys are Randy Powell and Marco Rodden. Again, every time I come across one of their videos, I'm like, damn, my day's ruined because I'm stuck for the day. And I watch the same video a half a dozen times, and every time you get something else out of it. It seems so rudimentary. He's basically up there on a whiteboard and with numbers, and it's mind-blowing stuff. I mean, I would pay to go to a university just to learn that stuff if we didn't have the internet.
That's amazing. Dave, I know that you're been really busy. Do you have time for one more call?
Let's go another hour, Jeff. Come on.
All right.
Ready?
Excellent. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeff and Dave, and you're speaking directly to us. Go ahead.
Yes. The icebergs. Are the icebergs just machine generated, do you think?
That's a great question.
Are the icebergs machine generated? From Laugh to Answer. Interesting question.
I don't know about that. I mean, if you look at, we live in the Antarctic basin. Antarctica is the highest land. All the water is in the valley of Antarctica, which is the world oceans. If you go to Antarctica, which is any straight line will take you to Antarctica, there's a 100 to 200 foot high wall of ice. It's frozen. It's a frozen land. Is there land underneath it? I think there's land underneath it. Do chunks of those fall into the ocean and take decades to melt? Absolutely. Do they drift around the world into other areas? Yeah. So is it done? Is it natural? It seems natural. I mean, could they be blowing up parts of the ice to make more icebergs? Probably. I mean, anything's possible.
Wow, interesting stuff. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with David and Jeffrey. Go ahead.
Hey, great presentation. I kind of have a two-part question.
Okay, Brandon, Dave is going to entertain you for about a minute. I'll be right back. Take the reins, Dave.
All right.
Okay. Kind of two-part question. As fascinating as everything of this is the basic holistic approach coming to this idea of flat Earth is that basically we're not being told the truth of most things.
Rephrase the question. Are you asking us if the basis of the flat Earth is because we're not being told the truth about anything?
Basically, yeah. I think if you can arrive at the conclusion that pretty much everything we're told is not based on reality and what we can actually feel and see, doesn't it make more sense that at the very basics of it, it's like if you can entertain an idea such as flat Earth, why can't we see through everything else?
I found that I used to wake people up to other things, and then I realized flat Earth was the one thing that people wake up to and then never go back to sleep. So that's why, and I feel it's a much more important truth. So yeah, that's
right.
it.
To me, David, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I really think at the end of the day, it could be a number of different possibilities. And I think that it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but there are some really interesting proofs that you can use. And I think it really says a lot about people where they can't be open to ideas that contradict what they've been indoctrinated into.
Fair point, Brandon. I appreciate you sharing that. Now, just for me to weigh in, the thing that in my opinion, Dave, and you can respond to this, that we really need to take away is that we're not living on a spinning ball. What they've told us is not true. We may not know all the answers, but we know that that isn't true.
They want us to think that we're insignificant, have no meaning, that we're a random accident. Okay. And because once you realize that you're not a random accident, that you do have meaning, that you do have power, then you're like, oh, I have meaning, I have power. I don't have to listen to you. You have no authority over me. Okay.
Exactly.
if you're afraid that an asteroid is going to wipe us out, that there's no more dinosaur bones to make gas for your car, then you are going to be a slave to the people that are telling you that nonsense.
Absolutely right. Craziness, folks. We've allowed ourselves to be dumbed down. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeff and Dave Weiss. Go ahead.
Hey, Jeff and Dave. First-time caller here. How are y'all tonight?
We're great. Go ahead and ask your question. Thanks for calling.
Thanks. This is Bob the Science Guy from Northern Michigan. I just have a quick question for you. How come objects weigh differently at different latitudes and whether you're flying them from west to east or east to west?
There's no proof of that.
Thanks for calling. Thanks for having the balls to make the call. I appreciate that.
Yeah. By the way, anybody, if you go in the app under the Debunking the Debunkers, there's plenty of videos about this guy. This is Bob, the not science guy. His arguments are so stupid.
Well, are you guys?
And hang on. I'm saying something that there may be. I don't know because I haven't verified it myself, so I really can't answer it. There may be variations in the downward force on Earth, which is dielectric in my opinion, and I don't know, haven't seen it verified or proven.
I've done it myself. I've flown it.
You've done it yourself. You know what? Astronauts
go to space more when you go west and less when you go east. Why is that on the flat and stationary Earth?
Hey Bob, why are your videos so deceptive? Why should I believe anything you say?
Are you going to answer the question, or are you just going to call me names?
No, I didn't really call you a name. I heard somebody ask you a direct question.
Yeah.
They're asking you to be stuff there that it's been nothing but one attack after another. Would you just answer my question?
Bob, get off the cross. We need the wood. We're going to have a discussion here. Nobody's a martyr.
I'm trying to.
Well, then answer questions and ask questions.
I've done this myself.
Bob, you're on thin ice, Bob, and I'm about ready to bounce your ass out of here. So behave like a gentleman or you're gone.
All right. Hey Bob.
Are you going to answer?
Why I have a question for you.
All right, asshole. You got 30 seconds.
Don't hang up on him. Don't hang up on him yet.
I'm about to.
I have a question for you.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, you
he won't listen to a question. He won't listen to a question.
You're throwing me off.
I'm not throwing you off.
I'm trying to ask you a question. I can't hear you when you can't hear me when I'm talking. Can you hear me, Bob? Bob?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
How you doing?
Answer me this. I have a question. I'm serious, and I need somebody with a science background.
Sure.
Stop talking. Let me talk. I live in a condominium, and I noticed that when the sun rises on the east, I stand in the front of my house. I'm 10 pounds lighter, and then when the sun is in the west, and I go on the back of my house, I am 10 pounds heavier. Can you explain that? Because I've done the measurements myself, so believe me, I've done it.
Do you have a question? I mean, that's
my question is, why am I 10 pounds heavier on the other side of my house when the sun is?
You're not.
I've done the measurements.
It doesn't have anything to do with it.
Trust me, I've done the measurements. Can you answer it? Are you going to answer?
I asked you a legitimate question. Would you like
to answer the question, Bob? All right, I've had enough.
Would you like to try and address my question?
Is that true? You really are 10 pounds heavier on one side?
No, I'm lying, just like he is.
Gotcha. So you're using absurdity to illustrate absurdity.
Well, no, his thing actually isn't absurdity. He's just making a claim that there's zero proof of, and that's all he has. This is the guy that says, shadows on the underside of clouds prove that the sun is the heliocentric sun, and we've shown him what he's actually seeing, and he refuses to see it. We've shown him scientifically, but he won't see it. He's a dedicated, lifelong troll of nonsense.
Gotcha. And it was apparent. Thank you for holding. This is Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeff and Dave.
Yes, Jeff. This is Mario here. This is a great show tonight.
Thank you, Mario. Go ahead.
Yes, you were showing the projector there, and people for quite some time now, when they look up in the sky, they do see like a twin sun. There's a name for it, and I can't remember it when you have a twin sun. But some people are trying to say that that's Nibiru coming in behind the sun, and I don't go with that philosophy right now. But I think the projector thing seems pretty good. And the other question is, there's a map that was found somewhere, and it shows that there's like an ice wall, and beyond it, there's another sun, because they call the sun Sol, but there's a bowl, another sun, and there's other continents way out there. There's an expansive ice mass, and I think it might be the Buddhist that came up with this map. Does he know anything about that?
Well, stay with us, Bob, and Mario, and get your answer. Go ahead, Dave.
There's a lot of maps. There was a Japanese map found, I think, in Hawaii somewhere that showed like 50 other continents outside of the Antarctic ice ring. There's other maps, which Martin Kenny does a lot of talking about, where there's another ring around us with its own sun and moon, and that sun and moon might be Mars and Venus. And then there's another ring beyond that with another sun and moon, Jupiter and Saturn, right? Jupiter being the moon, Saturn being the sun. I don't know about that. Martin Kenny does amazing work on it. It's called the Cosmic Egg. I actually might be posting that on the app on Sunday, a long video where one of the guys that was working with Martin put together some amazing video about this alignment that's coming up. Don't know how much of it I believe, but it's very interesting, and you have to look at that. So there's that.
And then what was the second question about? Yeah. I think we covered them both, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah. I was curious, maybe other life that comes and visits over here might be some of these things coming from these other continents.
Extraterrestrials, they come from the extra terra across the flat plane. They're not coming from 25 trillion miles away and crashing in Roswell. They're coming across the ice barrier, possibly. I don't know. Maybe they're coming from lands that are within our ring that we don't even know about because we can't get to them because GPS takes us east and west, don't bring us farther north or south. They just keep us going in circles, and GPS separates us to swaths of ocean to uncharted areas. So there could be other continents out there that we're unaware of within our Earth pond.
And Dave, those beings could be coming from under the earth or under the water, which is 95% unexplored. They could be coming from beneath the earth, which is 95% unexplored.
95%. Think about this. The deepest hole, Bob's on my mind.
Yep.
The deepest hole ever dug is just short of 8 miles, where they hit an impenetrable barrier. Maybe that's another firmament below us.
Ooh.
Okay? They can never get below that. Maybe there's a whole nother world down there. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Hey, how come nobody has commented that when you went to the bathroom, I stole your background?
Oh, you did. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeff and Dave.
Hi.
You turn us down in the background and give us what you got.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I love the show. I don't agree with everything you say, but your take on everything is really very interesting, and I love people who stretch my mind. So what I wanted to ask was, in the sphere model, so when, like, say, India is 17 hours ahead of us, right? So why does the plane take that long to travel there as well? Why can't you just go the other way if the Earth is a globe? Why can't you just go the other way and take a shorter flight?
Why can't you take off and let the Earth spin below you to bring you there? They pick and choose the arguments that they want. Neil deGrasse Tyson says that bullets have to Coriolis, or that I think Elon is saying that he wants to put a ship up into space, let the Earth spin below it, and then come down and land in China. That's never going to happen because it doesn't happen. I mean, airplane flights would make no sense. Think about this. The equator is moving 1,000 miles an hour. The Earth is 24,000 miles around. So it takes 24 hours to go around. You're going 1,000 miles an hour at the equator on the spinning ridiculous ball. So if you are 1 mile from the North Pole on the spinning ridiculous ball, you're still taking a full 24 hours to go around, but you're only going 3.14 miles in that 24 hours. So you're going really slow. You're going less than a mile an hour versus the equator that's going 1,000 miles an hour. If you took an airplane from the North Pole and flew it to Ecuador to land on a runway that's oriented north-south, that runway is moving sideways at 1,000 miles per hour. How the heck would you land on it? 1,000 miles an hour. You can't even see it. It's whizzing by faster than anything you've ever seen. Okay. and you're going to land on it. None of it makes any sense. The Earth is stationary, just as we see, just as we feel, everything. So the Earth isn't spinning. I don't know what else to say.
Has this indoctrination been this effective that it has rational people that are divine, sovereign, and free believing these ridiculosities? How is it possible, Dave? I mean,
it's 2020 and people still believe that we go to space and we live on a spinning rock water ball rocket pair in an infinite vacuum, breaking every law of science. And there's still people like Bob, the non-science liar, out there pushing this nonsense. I mean, I love Bob. Bob, keep doing what you're doing, because every person that finds your channel becomes a flat earther because of your nonsense.
Oh my. It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Dave and Jeff.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I'm watching the cast. I don't see you.
You can't watch yourself at the same time. You got to stop your thing so we can hear you talk and you can listen afterward. You can't do both.
I got you. All right, David.
Yes, sir.
I know, what's her name? Lap Dancer was asking you of, got you.
You can't listen to both of us. I'm going to have to hang up on you if you don't stop your video in the background. I'm sorry. It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeff and Dave. Please turn your device down in the background and listen to us and talk to us. You can't.
There's a delay. You can't do it. It's 2020. People don't know there's a delay. Come on.
Yes, go ahead.
All right, Jeff, I got a question for you. I don't exactly believe in the flat earth.
Okay.
But with that said, I don't exactly trust these corporations and companies and these governments that are putting supposedly these satellites and these supposedly there's a Chinese moon rover. I don't believe that. I don't trust the Chinese.
Okay.
So it's like I don't know what to believe. So my question is, what is this plane that we live on? What is this?
Dave, go ahead.
Good question, and don't hang up on him. Let me ask him a question before I try to answer that. I'm not sure I can answer it. You don't believe yet that the Earth is flat. That's fine. What's your number one proof for the globe? Just give me one proof of the globe, and that'll be amazing. Do you have one?
No, these NASA pictures, and there's heavy criticism of these NASA pictures.
So criticized NASA pictures are your best proof of the globe? I mean, like
no. Well,
like
I'm
that.
saying supposedly.
Right.
I'm saying allegedly, supposedly.
Well, it's provable. Anyone that takes 5 minutes, provable that NASA's taking all pictures from space. So if that's your best proof of the globe, you're a flat earther.
And don't know it yet. So explain that picture behind you real quick, Dave. It doesn't really take much explanation.
So 2002, 2012 picture, the United States is this big. On this one, it's twice the size. But if you think about it, this one, we've got a almost straight shot on. If I rolled this one back to the same orientation, it would get smaller, like my hand is getting smaller. But this one that's even rolled back, this one here, it's still bigger. That's insanity. So check this out. This is the 2012 shot right here. Okay. This is the United States right here. And I'm showing you in this circle down here about what we're seeing on that ball. You with me?
Yep.
All right. So we're looking at a full moon. We're looking at a full Earth because the sun's behind the cameraman. It's amazing every time they take a picture of the Earth and the sun is directly behind them. That I guess the cameraman really knows lighting and wants to take the best picture possible. But you have to believe that the rest of this land, all of this land from Australia to all the way to Mongolia, everywhere, all of that is on the backside of this ball. None of that makes sense. Look at the size, the scale. All of this land is on the backside of that ball. It's not, because that is a painting. Okay. It's nonsense. Here, just real quick. This is the NASA said, hey, look, I got these amazing pictures of the auroras on Jupiter. And, we all say that's Photoshop nonsense. That's garbage. But let's just give it to them and say, all right, that's what it looks like. Jupiter, They show us that it's a gaseous planet, that this storm here is spinning for 1,000 years, and all these bands are going in different directions. These are all storms and clouds and gases. Well, 2 years apart, these pictures are exactly the same. Look at this right here. Look at that right there. It's the same exact thing. This little dark spot here is right over. This is all backwards. I'm dyslexic. Yep. It's right. It's the exact same picture. You overlay them. You check out transparency. It's the exact same picture 2 years apart. NASA's lying. They're lying about everything. If they're lying about these photos, they're lying about everything. Nobody ever went to the moon. Earth is flat. Next.
And one of the big arguments I get is, Jeff, all the other planets are round. How could the Earth be flat?
Right.
Come
all
on.
The other planets around. You're living in a cartoon world. Cartoons have infected your mind. These are the cartoons that control your mind with. This is mind control.
It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeff and Dave.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Dave.
Hello.
It's Joe. I've got a postulation, but before that, I gotta say that the more that I apply the scientific method to the flat Earth or to the global, the more that number one, I don't know, and number two, I'm uneducated, and I could use both sides of the argument to come to a well-informed conclusion, and with that, I can go to my postulation, which may sound strange. And by the way, thanks for bearing with me tonight.
Excellent. What's your postulation, Joe?
So, I'm not sure how I got this, but imagine a gyroscope, and that the Earth is inside that gyroscope, and there is a magnetic connection between that and the planet, and the magnetic force on the gyroscope charges a floodlight of sorts on it.
A floodlight.
So
yeah.
Excellent. Okay, let's go ahead, Dave. Address that.
Thanks for the call. I think I got what you were saying a bit. That makes a lot of sense. Go check out LC King's channel, because he might be talking about this energy system that we live in that might help you with that postulation.
Interesting. Yeah, Joe's a deep thinker. He's a regular caller. It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeff and Dave.
Hey, yeah, I think there's an element of this thing that nobody's touching. Well, most people don't know, but I made a discovery 6 years ago, and I've been researching it ever since. And I don't question at all whether we're on a globe or a plane, but I believe I've captured the technology outside the dome, and I've got 6 years worth of video that I put together. And
so you think there is a dome? You're not sure if it's round or flat, but you think there's a dome? Am I following you?
Yeah, I'm sure it's flat.
Okay. So you're sure it's flat.
I've got the.
You think there's a dome, and you've seen something outside the dome?
Yeah, I see the technology that actually I'm capturing it. That actually creates this place we're in. It's a big projection, big projector.
Okay.
I know it sounds crazy, but
do you have a question for Dave?
Well, I want to know if he's ever heard of anything like that as far as triangles, flat Earth and triangles. Does any of that make
I'm unaware.
Yeah, I'm not sure of that either. It's an interesting postulation. I mean, it sounds like, it's a guy that's thinking he's figured out it's flat. He's figured out there's a dome or some type of a firmament, and that there's some projection from the outside. So
Hey, jumping back to where I was talking about the sun being projected in, and the woman that talked about two suns and thinking Nibiru and whatnot.
Yeah.
All of the optics in the sky and the chemtrails that they're spraying and just everything, depending on the position of everything. Sometimes we see these halos, these sun dogs, we see these circles in the sky. Some places in the north, you see almost four suns showing up. They could be that it's just manifesting in one area, and then the conditions change and it moves over. I have one of my sun fade out videos where the sun literally fades out, and then there's another sun there, and then it fades out. It just has to do with optics, atmosphere, and the position that you're looking at it.
And Dave, it's funny to me that there's a lot of people that have no problem believing that there's this great big huge planet that's got this orbit around the sun that's like, I don't know, thousands and thousands of thousands of years long, and it's out in the outer darkness, and it comes back around and it smashes everything up, and it's got Anunnakis on it, and they made us to dig gold, but they can't believe that the Earth might possibly be flat. It's just a crazy world, ladies and gentlemen.
And Pluto, the planet, which is so far out, they say that if you were on Pluto, the sun would look like a small star or a large star. It would just be a tiny dot. But the Cassini spacecraft, as it was flying by, got this beautiful picture of it that happens to have a Pluto-shaped light spot on it.
How about that?
Wait, again. A full it's like the full moon, a full Pluto. It happened to get it perfectly with the sun behind it, so there's no shadow. It's going 66,000 miles an hour. It had like a sub 4 megapixel camera, and it was able to transmit this high-res picture back to Earth. Okay, nonsense.
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense.
Pluto the dog was created the same year as Pluto the planet was created.
It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeff and Dave.
Howdy. So quick thing, young Pharaoh mentioned emotion, energy in motion. And I want to ask Dave about weather and seasons and what his feeling about possibly us influencing weather and seasons.
Good question, Dave.
So let me understand the question. What the influence of weather and seasons? Well, I mean, the seasons and the weather are definitely tied together. The seasons are caused by the sun traveling in and out. Let me share the app really quick, and let me show you how seasons work. And Jeff, you might not know this feature on the app. Is that up on the screen?
It is.
So if you look at the sun is over the outer yellow line, and that is the Tropic of Capricorn. We're told that that's at whatever degrees south it is, below the equator. And then the inner yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer. And that's above the equator equally, with the red line in the middle being the equator. But this is how they really look. And this is how the sun really moves. Right now, 2 days before December 21st, the sun is almost directly over the Tropic of Cancer. So Tropic of Capricorn. So the outer southern lands, all of the outer lands are in the heat of their summer right now. They're in the height of their summer because the sun is closer to them, right? And if I jump the sun forward, so right here, this button is the jump 1 month button. If I click it 6 times, it's going to take me all the way to June. Did I make it to June yet? Oops, I went too far. Whatever. Well, I was almost at June. And so this is the inner northern summers here. There's a little delay on that button, just so you know. So the sun is closer to us, so it's higher in the sky. Like if I had a balloon on a 10-foot string and I walked right by you, it's 10 feet over your head. But if I was 30 feet away from you and I walked by, you'd look kind of straight across at it. It wouldn't be over your head. It would be lower on your horizon, just like the sun is lower on our horizon when it's out far away from us. And when I mean us, I mean everyone that's listening that's in the inner northern lands. So that's how seasons work on the flat Earth. And the sun and the moon. So the sun takes 6 months to go from the Tropic of Cancer to the Tropic of Capricorn, and 6 months to come back. The moon The app doesn't show it yet. I'm going to be adding that. The moon actually travels in between those tropics every month, every 28 days, 14
wow.
days out, 14 days back. You with me?
I'm with you.
Yeah. So the moon takes that same path, and then they intersect at times, and that's when an eclipse happens. But these things are on wheels in the sky. You know the song "Wheels in the Sky Keep on Turning." Just go to my channel Ditrh and type in "Wheels in the Sky Keep on Turning," and I've got a great video there.
Amazing stuff. We're talking to David Weiss from Ditrh. That's Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. And you are live with Jeff and Dave. Let's turn down the background noise and talk to us. I think they were having a little discussion there, Dave. It sounded like we called into an episode.
Earth is not flat. They're lying. It was over flat Earth, I'm pretty sure.
It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeff and Dave.
Hey, Jeff and Dave. So my question is, like, in regard to the map that showed the continents beyond Antarctica, that was made by a Persian 1,000 years ago. And it's still
the one that was found in Hawaii, I believe.
I'm not sure. I might kind of grab the big picture and move on, you know?
Yeah.
But my question is, okay, so Greek mythology, there's 7 worlds. Norse, there's 9. As a flat earther 5 years now, I think we live in the middle of like a bullseye. That there are like way more worlds beyond the one on that map.
I don't disagree with that. There's if you again check out Martin Kenny, I forget the name of his channel. Maybe Bob can type it in the chat. Glowbusters.
I love Kenny.
Yeah, he's got great work, and I encourage everyone to look at it.
Excellent. Thanks.
What do you think of?
Go ahead.
Okay, what do you think of? What do you think of this whole? Oh God, the planets lining up and
the conjunction thing.
Suns.
I think it's the marking of a cycle. I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's the changing of a time. Maybe it's a new reset. Maybe something's happening. I don't know. I'm not the guy in charge. I'm here having this experience. So there's a lot of people that think a lot of things are going to happen. Do they happen like that? Or does that snap take 10 years to happen? I don't know.
Depends on your perspective, huh?
Yeah.
It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty and David Weiss. Go ahead.
Hey, David, I wanted to ask you a question about attractional force theory. Have you ever heard of that? Kepler's law to the third power instead of the theory of gravity?
Remind me. I'm sure I've heard of it, but.
Well, basically, it explains how our heavenly bodies are situated, and it ties into like the electric universe theory. And so what I'm thinking is the reason why we have all these allegorical stories, how it applies is that the heavenly bodies are like the gods of Olympus and whatnot.
I'm all for it. I believe that these bodies that move around the sky are the projectors of our reality. I can't explain how it works, but I used to laugh at astrology. How can a planet, Jupiter, 25 million miles away, affect my daily life in any way? But what if that Jupiter thing was an energetic force within the Earth system, right here, and all of these things happening? We are in this amazing, created electrical, magnetic, magical system. All of that affects us. Astronomy, I thought, was science. Astronomy is pseudoscience. Astrology is real science.
So, Dave, far from debunking or making us want to dismiss astrology, the understanding of a flat Earth model and an enclosure should make us ever more interested in astrology.
There's a saying that billionaires have astrologers, right? So astrology has something to it. There's really
millionaires don't believe in astrology, but billionaires do.
Yeah. There you go. So there's this great astrologers out there. There's great astrologers and there's crappy astrologers, just like there's great investment people and crappy investment people, whatever it is. There's great astrologers out there, but the problem is they're doing good work. The problem is they're taking their astrological measurement, their knowledge of what those things are doing, and they're wrapping them around a ball belief. Okay, an incorrect ball belief.
Most Vedic astrology comes from people that believe it's flat. So
if they laid that knowledge they have out over a flat Earth understanding, they become a way more powerful astrologer. Hey,
that's Vedic astrology might be better, Dave.
Yeah, share my screen a second. I just want to show you. This is the wheels in the sky. How it works and how eclipses happen. So this is the moon, and again, this isn't to scale or anything, but the moon spins on that wheel, and this is the sun. It takes 6 months. Let me pause it. Let me go back. So this is the sun. It's over the Tropic of Cancer, and it takes 6 months to rotate. While it's orbiting, it's also rotating, and it's going in between these two tropics. And then if you look at the moon, it'll slow down. The moon does it in a month. Okay. It goes all the way out and all the way back. And then when they come together, just at a nodal point, bam, there's your eclipse.
Oh, okay.
Right. It'll show it one more time, a little closer. And that's how an eclipse happens. That's one way to look at it. That's the way I see it. It makes perfect sense. It's like the wheels in a watch.
It makes a lot more sense than trying to
than a crazy beehive that NASA can't even model 3 bodies. Okay.
Wow.
This is an airplane filming the eclipse. What are we seeing here? This is the weirdest thing ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not what they're telling us. It's not what they're telling us.
It's not. They're lying about everything. And just think about this. The government loves you. They want to make sure you don't go blind. So they give out, I don't know how much money they spent, the solar viewing glasses.
Hold on a second, caller.
And they tell you you're going to go blind if you look at it. Let me tell you something. If you went blind from looking at an eclipse, no matter how many campaigns they did to tell you not to look at it, there'd be 1 million people going blind every time there's an eclipse because people would look. Yep. How many people do you know that have gone blind from looking at an eclipse?
Nobody.
Probably the same number that have the Rona and died from it.
Caller, it's late night in the Heartland. You're live. Go ahead.
Jeffrey, it's Eddie again. I got a couple more questions, and then I got a question for Bob. My first one is, can you explain shooting stars? And my second one is, can you explain how the days get longer in the south of the equator when the sun's actually making a bigger circle? It was, to me, I've never understood that, how the day would actually get longer on the south of the equator. And then can you ask Bob, that jackass? I've seen a couple of his videos. I can't stand that guy. But anyways, can you ask that guy how it's possible to shoot a rocket into space and to exit our atmosphere while our Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour and then following the sun at another 93 million miles an hour without it being completely obliterated, because there's no atmosphere outside of our atmosphere. The only way that a rocket could not be destroyed after leaving our atmosphere at those kind of speeds is if there's another atmosphere outside the Earth.
Thanks for those questions.
Thanks. I'll answer the questions. You got a couple of your speeds wrong, but that's fine because it's all nonsense anyway. So 93 million, 56,000, doesn't matter. It's all nonsensical. And you're right. And don't bother asking Bob anything unless you just want to waste time and energy. I'm going to show you how the daylight works. I'm going to just share the app one more time. Okay. Where is my share screen? There it is. Windows. And so think of we have a dome over us right now. The sun is closer. It's at its outermost part, and it's closer to the dome. So the dome is out here somewhere. If you took a light and brought it, you got a glass bowl and brought it near the edge of the bowl, the light is going to wrap around the bowl more. So you see how it's wrapped around, right?
Yeah.
And when I bring the sun back here, watch, I'm going to bring the sun to the equator, the equator. So I go January, February, March, April. There we go. March. There we go. On the equator, look, this line is it's about equal day and equal night, pretty much. You with me?
I'm with you.
If if I bring it all the way in, now they have these longer nights out here. Okay. And we have our and these inner northern parts, well, the sunlight actually goes past it. And so the sun never sets for the people in here. Okay. When the sun's all the way in the center, over the Tropic of Cancer, there's 24-hour sun because the sun never gets farther away and these areas don't get dark. Okay. There is no 24-hour sun.
Dave. It explains everything.
So they're also, check this out. There is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica, but there is 24 hours of daylight. Okay. And if you look at time and date, I have another video, but I'm not going to pull it up right now. When that sun goes way out, that light wraps all the way around the dome. Okay. And there's darkness in here, but there's light that there's twilight over in Antarctica. So the sun will be gone, but the sky will still be light. Daylight and sunlight are two different things. The sun rises on the east side of my house. I can go read the newspaper on the west side of my house, and the sun is completely blocked by my house, but the sky is fluoresced. Okay. And that's the backlighting. It's the daylight.
You know, if we just taught this in schools, we'd be much better off than we are with the nonsense that we're being taught.
Dude, and I watched these videos, like the Chinese had this moon landing, where they got the soil sample. Just watch it. It's unbelievable. You just watch the SpaceX launches with a critical eye. You don't even need a critical eye. You just have to stop just believing nonsense. And the lie is so massive. And it hit me just the other day, really for the first time. I was watching this well done piece about the Chinese program and that they're going to have a space program. They're going to do this and that, all this future stuff. And I'm like, they're treating us like little babies. They're just putting this propaganda on us. They're treating us, they look at us as insects. They really do. They treat us with zero respect. They're controlling our minds. They don't give a crap about us.
We're like ants in their ant farm, and that's all it is.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
And that's it's sad but true.
It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty and David Weiss. 818 area code. You're live.
Hi, Jeffrey. How are you?
I'm doing great, sweetheart. What's on your mind?
Oh, I just wanted to call in and say hi. This is a great subject. I tried to introduce my mom to this subject, and she just about flipped out and told me I should have my head examined and what was wrong with me. I was going native and gonna run, But I wanted to mention that every once in a while, the sun will flash, like something goes in front of it, or and it's not like when you look directly at the sun. And I just wanted to ask, has anyone ever noticed that or had that happen to them? Like you swear the sun just goes for just a flash, goes out and it goes on again.
Great question.
Yeah. The sun is not what they tell us. It's electric in nature, for lack of better words. When I sun gaze with lots of practice and the edge flickers, it's amazing. But one thing I noticed during the eclipse, when I was looking at the sun, I was seeing chaos up there. It was insane what I was seeing and experiencing in my head. So a flash, yeah, sure. I can't explain it. It's some sort of electric light. Think about this. The sun powers everything on Earth. The sun makes plants grow. The sun makes solar electricity. Think about this, right? We have these solar panels. Scientists don't even know how solar panels work. They have a theory on how they work, but they don't know because they believe that the sun is throwing photons that are traveling 93 million miles, and they're making electrons jump in these silicon cells. When in fact, the sun is just transmitting electricity, and these silicon cells are electricity collectors. They're collecting the electricity and transferring it into a current that we can use with our stupid electric system that we use. The sun makes a plant grow, right? Fire kills a plant. We're told that the sun is fire. If you had a plant and you put it in front of a fireplace, it's going to shrivel up and die. But if you put it in front of a LED, a fluorescent light, it's going to grow. Okay. So the sun is some sort of electric light source, sending energy and everything that we need to live.
So you're telling us the sun is not a ball of fire 93 million miles away.
Everything, once there was nothing, it exploded and became everything. And then all of the rocks and matter coalesced into perfect spinning balls. And then all of the gases coalesced into even bigger balls with more gravity and left a vacuum in between.
Of course it did. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with David Weiss and Jeffrey Daugherty.
Yes, I'm a physicist, a researcher, worked for a major company,
nice.
And as chief scientist. I have three questions, and I'm not sure which one to ask you.
Why don't you ask all three of them in order?
Ask one and let me answer it, then hit me with the next one. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's do one at a time, Doctor.
Okay. Yeah, you must know about Crow 777.
Good friend of mine. I'm actually going to be on Crow 777 on the 21st. We did the 12 hoaxes of Christmas.
Dave, is he a friend of mine or am I on his enemy list? Do you know?
I don't know. I'll ask.
I'll call him a friend. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead with your first question.
All right. So, a Crow 777 back in 2011 saw this raster line that was passing across the moon through his telescope, and he sat on that video for a long time and finally put it out on YouTube in 2015, and it got snagged. He got shut down, and CIA came in, other folks came in, and they really trashed him. What's your opinion about the moon being a hologram?
Well, saying the moon is a hologram is using the wrong words for something that we don't know. As Crow says himself, anything we see in the sky other than known aircraft are lights. That's all you can truthfully say. You can't say how big they are. You can't say what they are. You can say how far they are. They're lights in the sky. They're luminaries. That's all we can say. Crow, I think, is of the belief that the moon is not a physical object like I believe. Some people think it is. I think it's the projection of a physical object, that there is something that looks just like that, but not where we're seeing it. The wave that he saw, it cannot be explained away as just a refreshing of a screen because the way he moved the camera and everything. They always come in two ways. It's been filmed by other people now. It could be, space is better described as liquid than a vacuum. So it could be something. We don't know what it is. All we know is the moon is described.
I've looked at that video many dozens of times, and that raster line just keeps coming back.
Yeah, well, there's two of them, and
yeah,
and they always come in pairs, and it's not jet trails. Some people say, "Oh, it's a jet trail."
No.
Yeah. So again, we don't know what it is, but it's not, the moon is not what they tell us. And when you watch this thing go over the moon, if anyone hasn't seen Shoot the Moon on Vimeo by Crow and Jason Lindgren, go rent that. I think it's like $3 or something. Go rent Shoot the Moon on Vimeo, and Crow, with all of his amazing high resolution hours and years of filming the sky. It's a great video.
And what's your second question?
Yeah, second question also about the moon. I've looked at these odds, and the fact that we see total eclipses of the sun, that they're actually perfect eclipses throughout the world, various places. The fact that the sun's a certain distance away, the moon is much closer, and yet they perfectly occult each other for about 2 minutes. And the probability of that happening, given different distances and different sizes, is about 1 part in 10 to the 15th.
That's a big number, 10 to the 15th. So
Yeah,
don't you believe in coincidences, man?
I mean, the probability of that being exactly the same size or appearing the same size as the sun it falls in that kind of category.
But according to some of mainstream scientists, we could live in an infinite number of universes, and we just happen to be in the one where it does work.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's great. We're running out of time. It's 10 till. We got to let Dave go in about 5 minutes so we can finish up some business on the way out. So let's grab another couple of quick calls if you don't mind, Dave.
Go ahead.
All right. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeff and Dave. Let's be brief and to the point. We're running out of show time, unfortunately.
That's okay. Hey, Jeffrey, I'm a short-time listener, first-time caller. But hey, love your show. What you got going on tonight is just wickedly awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, thank you. What I'd like to do is direct this question directly to Mr. Weiss. Okay. Is there any way that we can see this program of yours for the PC? I don't have, I use an old BlackBerry. I mean, I wish I could go back to my old flip phone, but it broke. So I don't have anything that I can run it on, right? And I'd love to see this on the PC. So I'll tell you what, I'll let you go. I'm going to turn up the volume so I can listen to your answer, all right?
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks so much. Right now, it's just on Android phones and iOS. We're looking to figure out a way to do it on the PC, but that costs a lot of money, and it might be something as it grows they'll do. I thought I was done with the Zap 2 years ago, and then I was like, oh, I got another idea, and then I do that, and I'm like, oh, I got another idea. I just did a major update now where I'm changing everything, where I could change everything now from my computer, and I got another idea. I'm going to add a curvature calculator. I've got a card game in there, so it'll eventually end up everywhere it could be, but right now it's on iPhones and Android devices and iPads. You have to have on Android, it has to be 8.0 or operating system or above.
Dave, how come the curvature calculators don't work? How come we see stuff way past it?
Because there is no curve, Jerry.
Jeffrey, but yeah, that's right.
Jeffrey, Jerry, whatever.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
There is no curve, folks. That's why it doesn't work.
Yeah. And, the curvature calculator, the 8 inches per mile squared, only works for the first 1,000 miles or so. But guess what? You don't need it. You can't see 1,000 miles, so you don't need it to calculate any further. And even if you say the curvature calculator is wrong, cut it in half. Say, I'll give you half back. Okay. It still doesn't work. Okay.
It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeff and David.
Yeah, I was wondering about between India and Africa, has anybody ever calculated the distance and then what it should be on a globe and what it should be on flat Earth?
So calculating the distances between, through oceans is very difficult to do because you got to rely on the government controlled GPS and, airplanes, which, you got wind speed. So confirming all of that stuff is very difficult. But if you just look at flight routes, right? So check this out. This is the flight route from Santiago, Chile to Australia. They go all the way up to the north, and then all the way back down. Okay. That's a crazy route. Why do they do that? Why don't they just cut straight across the bottom or underneath? They're right here. They're on the bottom of the balls. Why don't we just go underneath Antarctica or just stay at 60 degrees south or whatever they are, and just head right there? And the answer is because this is the same route on a flat Earth. It's a straight line. It's a straight line. Okay. So that's showing you that, these flight routes are ridiculous.
That's showing you what's real. Let's sneak in another call. Okay. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeff and David.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Dave.
Hey.
I had a question for you guys. I'm kind of on pace with the flat Earth and whatnot. What do you think these people that make specials on Discovery Channel and come on podcasts, the astrophysicists that talk about this bullshit like supernovas and all these crazy things? what do you think they really do? Are they just deluded? Are they the actors? Like, what's your opinion on that?
Great question.
So some of them are just deluded, and other ones are paid known deceivers that have lost control of their souls and are working directly for pure evil. They're here to control our minds, and you know that's it. What was that? Was there another question there? There was something else I was going to say, and I just totally blanked out.
No, he just says, are they making stuff up? Are they deluded?
Yeah, they're making stuff up. You know, like there was a group of flat earthers that were out at the Salton Sea doing a long distance test, and National Geographic showed up, and they brought their helicopter and they brought their boat, and they had this big board with red and white stripes on it, and they went out on the Zodiac holding the board at the edge of the water, and it started going away, and then the bottom stripe disappeared, and the next one disappeared. Right, the guy on the land is looking for it, and he's like, "Oh, that's because of Earth's curvature." But what he didn't realize is behind the boat, you can see the surface of the water. For miles behind the boat, you can see the surface of the water. So that just showed that you're seeing an optical illusion with waves and miraging. But you could see the water, and then with the helicopter, we caught them faking it, literally CGIing, faking footage that they used. Unbelievable.
Crazy stuff. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and close the phone lines. We got to say goodbye to Dave. And Dave, you know, just to wrap up on a personal note, you know, you've been a great friend and a great help in understanding the world that we live on. But I got to tell you, I'm a little bit disappointed with my flat Earth journey so far, because I thought I'd get into this and it'd be camaraderie and let's all gather around the truth of that we're not on a spinning ball. But it seems like there's so many camps that can't let go of their particular truth and join together on the truth of we're not on a spinning ball. Is there any hope for that, or do we just have to get used to knuckleheads messing up things?
Yeah, if you get 20 people together anywhere, any group of people, whether they're people that hang out at Starbucks or people that are bird watchers or flat earthers, you're going to have a couple a-holes, you're gonna have a couple religious fanatics, you're gonna have a mix of everything. So people, you know, there's plenty of people that like you. There's people that are on the strong Christianity side that they don't mix well with you. That's okay. Let them have their space.
I just wish we could set aside our religious beliefs and talk about the shape of the earth.
Listen, well, you and I are having a conversation. You had Nathan Thompson on, and I thought you guys were best friends. Right?
We are.
I'm saying, and Nathan it's because you put it aside. So
exactly,
the people that can't put it aside, put them aside. Just let them be and do your own thing. There's plenty of people that are on this journey with you, and stop focusing on the ones that aren't.
That's great advice, Dave. I got to let you go. We got to do some little business.
One quick thing, everybody, get the app, gift it to your friends. You can just text it to them. If you go to the share button for Android, you can send them $3 with Venmo if you want to pay for it on Android, because they don't have the gifting thing. And check my YouTube channel out, Ditrh, the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and the podcast, the Flat Earth Podcast, available on all podcast players.
Excellent. David, thanks for being here. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. See you. Bye.
Take care, my friend. That was David Weiss from Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. Whether you believe in flat earth or don't, that was some good stuff. I started out debunking it. I now am convinced that we don't live on a spinning ball. I don't know where you are, but I hope that you're in a place where you're willing to at least think about things that you don't normally think about. Try to understand things that you don't understand right now. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I hope that you might decide that now's a great time to unindoctrinate yourself. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This has been Late Night in the Heartland. I want to thank you for not only making my day, but it's Friday. Thank you for making my week. We'll see you again on Monday.
Mm-hmm. you.